If you're not listening to Overdrive on TSN Radio, you need to do that, or you can catch it wherever you get your podcasts. It's a terrific listen. It's a terrific watch on TSN, and here's the guy who hosts it all, Bryan Hayes, our friend. He also hosts Harvey's Hot Takes for us. Bryan, I can't wait to hear your hot take about Anthony Stolarz leaving in the second period after taking that bump from Sam Bennett. No penalty on the play. Stolarz not pulled by the concussion spotter. He then gets sick on the bench, has to leave the game. What do you make, Bryan, of how that whole situation played out?
Well, Jay, in the midst of what was one of the truly most wild hockey games I've seen in a long, long time, this had everything tonight. The Stolarz, side story, I think, is what is going to really be leading the charge in terms of conversation in this market and throughout the NHL leading up to Game 2 on Wednesday night because of the significance of the loss. If it leads to this for Anthony Stolarz, he's been so good for the Maple Leafs all season. He was really, really good against Ottawa, and he was playing really well tonight, albeit not overly tested, but was clearly in the zone. And when he left the game, and then you realize, okay, exactly what he's going through, it spread through this arena like wildfire. Everyone immediately started to panic. And again, the Maple Leafs are in control of the game at this point. But not only because of Stolarz leaving the game and Joseph Woll coming in, but because of who was the one that knocked them out, and that's Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett is at the forefront of what the Florida Panthers represent, not only for the Maple Leaf fan base, but every fan base in the league. Every fan base in the league cannot stand this guy because of the way he plays. And he plays tough. He's a little bit greasy, and I thought the play tonight was just that. It was greasy. It was accidentally on purpose, yet I don't think it's enough to lead to a suspension because last year he pulled off a play on his now current teammate Brad Marchand, which I thought was exponentially worse in terms of dangerous, in terms of intent, and he didn't get any suspension for what he did to Brad Marchand last year. So I'm not expecting a suspension. The Panthers didn't have him speak to the media tonight. At some point, Sam Bennett will speak. Who knows when Anthony Stolarz is going to play again? But if he doesn't return for Game 2 or the rest of the series, it's all on Joseph Woll, and that was the aftermath of the story. The Leafs had full control of this game. Woll goes in, gives up a few goals in the third period. They found a way to hold on and win, but now the goaltending story is going to be a huge part of the program here in Toronto leading up to Game 2.
Let's go back to the first period for a second. It's hard to imagine it going better. Toronto physical, a goal and 2 assists by defensemen. The building's rocking. Was that the best period of hockey you've seen from the Maple Leafs in a while, Bryan?
Absolutely. I'd say the best period they've had all year and one of the best playoff periods they've had in a long, long time. They came out and dictated the pace and the physicality, and obviously they got on the score sheet, and this place was going electric. It was an 8 p.m. Eastern start on a Monday night. That is uncharted territory for Leaf fans, but it was the only game in town. No other Stanley Cup playoff games, and I thought the Leafs came out and did exactly what they had to do, Jay. This is a big test against the Cup champ Florida Panthers. We've talked about it extensively over the last few days, how big this challenge is for any team in the league, and it's no different for the Maple Leafs, but I think it was imperative that they came out and played the way that they played in the first period. They got the crowd behind them. Nylander scores 30 seconds in. It's 3-1, and next thing you know, you're breathing easy. Obviously, things changed as the evening went on, but I cannot credit the Maple Leafs enough for a first impression in a very difficult series. They had it in the first period tonight. They were absolutely outstanding.
And you alluded to it. Things got a little different as the game went on. The third period, kind of a case of holding on for dear life. Are you happier that the Leafs held on, or are you more concerned that they almost blew the lead?
No, I think it's the former, Jay. I think this became a mandatory win, right? When you go up 2-0, you're up 3-1. You're up 4-1 going into the third period. As we all know, 4-1 is the most infamous scoreline in modern Maple Leaf history. And then all of a sudden it's 4-3 quick. And who led the charge for the Florida Panthers? Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand, who was in the building in Boston back in 2013. And I don't mean to bring that up other than the fact that it all ties together. And I think Craig Berube called a great timeout a necessary timeout to settle his team down. Matthew Nyes ends up getting the winner on an absolute beauty. But when you consider Stolarz left the game, when you consider the Florida Panthers seemingly got better and better as the game went on, the Leafs bent, they didn't break. It was mandatory considering they're up 4-1 going into the third. We don't know what the status of Stolarz is moving forward. You're on home ice. You played great in the first period. Big, big win for the Maple Leafs.
And the Leafs get wins in game 1 of consecutive series for the first time since 2001. 24 years since this has happened. Bryan Hayes, you're always terrific. Thanks for this.
Hot Takes is presented by Harvey's. Customize your burger and get it delivered from our app to your door. Harvey's, it's a beautiful thing.